All right, we are live. We are live. Good afternoon. Greetings, everybody. Haki Ami, the Success Scholar. Thank you all for joining us here, Raising Consciousness and Capital. Holla at the Success Scholar Show here live. I'm on live stream at Raising Consciousness and Capital on YouTube and Raising Consciousness and Capital on our Facebook group page. So definitely join, like, share, and subscribe. My name is Haki Ami, the Success Scholar, and I am joining live on this beautiful, healthy Black History uh, month of February. Joined by two amazing sisters that who I've known both for quite some years, and so we've been working on having these discussions around relationships, healing, love, family, healing, health, and many people know or may not know that uh, Black it's not just Black History Month, but it's Healthy Heart Month or Healthy Heart Awareness Month, February. And so, in many health spaces, many know that I do work quasi in a health space. So, I'm always interested in these discussions. And so, I'm joined first, of course, by my sister co-host. I wanted her to join us for this discussion with my guests because they're both sacred women. And Sister Renee Miller is a sacred woman, as well as my guest, Sister Jennifer uh, Maat Dixon's Cravens. But let me read her bio. And like I said, she is a sacred woman, but I will get her
Actually, I'm a
bio.
sacred woman priestess.
Oh,
So,
well,
yeah.
thank you. I'm sorry.
But we're all sacred women. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me
Yeah.
get the correct
20,
Queen
21
Victoria.
years doing the Sacred Woman program in the DC area.
Yes. Okay.
But
Yeah. So
we
yeah. No.
hold many titles, That's just one aspect as we move
Okay.
into um our journey, because one of my favorite quotes, and I'll just open with that on my end,
Mm,
is life is not a destination but a journey. So
mm,
as we move on our spiritual path, we go through many doors, and you just keep moving, and you keep
mm,
learning, and you keep building your medicine bag. You keep building your skills and your knowledge and your medicine and your wisdom,
mm.
to pass
Okay.
on to the next generations, because everything that I do on this planet is for generations to come, because
Hmm.
I know I may not ever benefit from some of the things, but everything we do is for generations to come.
Yeah. Right. Well, let me read your bio there so I can
Okay.
sound like I'm professional, right? So by Jennifer Dixon Cravens, owner of Lotus Wellness Institute. She's a mother of two in nutrition, health, spiritual, and wellness coach, and holistic health counselor and public speaker. She holds a master's in nutrition and dietetics and of a bachelor in business administration and human resource management and organizational behavior. She is faculty and an educator at a local university in Maryland. Jennifer Maat was a traditional natural path nutritionist, sacred woman, Abu priestess. All right, I got that right. All right. Herbalist, iridologist, Reiki practitioner, and master teacher and yogi. Jennifer has over 25 years in education experience and training in community health, nutrition, and holistic health and wellness. She has seen hundreds of clients and has provided guidance in health, nutrition, spiritual, and wellness education across the country. So let me just welcome you again, Sister. Thank you for joining us here. And thank Sister Renee for sitting in because you both have some similarities. And I wanted her to meet you for quite some time. So just open, I read your bio and now Sister Renee is here. So just share a little bit, if anything, I touched upon that too before we get into our questions that that I touched upon in your bio that you would like to add on or clarify. You already open with comments, so now that we in the conversation, you can chime back in, and I'll go to my questions for you.
Actually, it's not anything that I would like to add to the bio. I think you covered everything.
Hmm.
I just wanted to stress the importance of healthy heart, Maat,
Right.
because most people, we spend a lot of time talking about the womb. We spend a lot of time talking about the
Mm,
breast. But
mm,
heart disease in African American women, the numbers are just as alarming as fibroids, breast cancer, some of the other womb issues. And so I just wanted to kind of spotlight. This is my third Healthy Heart presentation today because in the month
mm,
of February, that's I'm invited to speak to a series of different organizations, and we're talking about the heart. A couple of human organizations that I'm affiliated with, we've been
mhm,
posting since February the 4th, where you're at, support this and bring awareness to this cause. Because the issue with heart as it relates to women is we don't feel the symptoms because the
mm.
symptoms are not the
That's
same
correct.
for men.
Yes.
We
Right.
tend to have it, it's not a thrusting pain to the heart. It's all over. It can be in your lower back. It can be issues with your sight or your um, upper arm area.
Right.
um, I'm trying to say your shoulders. I'm trying to say
Okay.
shoulders. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
It can be in the shoulders. You can feel kind of nervous system type of situation. But what I want to kind of backtrack on before we get into questions is kind of lay the foundation for why
Mhm.
we're having these issues. We all know that we eat our emotions, especially women of color. We eat our emotions because we have very high emotions.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
women tend to have, African American women tend to have high levels of testosterone. Um,
Mhm.
and that is one of the issues that we have to kind of have a conversation about um,
Right.
because of our genetic makeup. We
Mm.
are kind of like African American men, then African American women, and then everybody else. Okay.
Mhm.
So we have to be conscious of that. And your organs are associated with your emotions.
Right.
So if I am constantly angry all the time, I'm going to tax my liver. If
Mhm.
I'm afraid all the time or fearful, I'm going to tax my kidneys. If
Mhm.
I have hate in my heart or I'm um, I'm wearing all the time, or I have doubt, I'm going to tax my heart or my lungs because the lungs deal with grief and depression and sadness. A
Mhm.
lot of people have been grieving because of COVID, losing family members, and all of the things that we've been dealing with
Mhm.
isolation and different issues like that. So we really, really have to be conscious of what we're actually eating, what we're doing, what emotions we are feeling,
Right.
because when we kind of
Mhm.
interact with each other, it's not always positive interactions with people, and
Mhm.
people don't
Mhm.
realize that every time we're doing this, we are killing ourselves.
Right.
So, I don't I'm like Teflon. I don't like a lot of stuff stick to me. I forgive people and keep it moving because
Mm.
I'm not going to be sick over pettiness or drama or, all of these different things. But some
Right.
people are not allowed, not cannot easily kind of discount those feelings and those emotions. So when we go toe to toe with people or we have some type of issue, um, we want to be conscious of that interaction, and especially if you're constantly I don't know what happened, you all disappeared.
No, you good. You
Okay,
good.
okay.
Just
It's
giving you the figure
Okay.
of flow.
Especially if we are watching the TV 24/7. A lot of people are sitting there taking in all of the negativity 24/7. So we're constantly having the different issues that we're having. And so it's so many things that kind of go into what gets us to the point where we're having heart issues because the body goes through stages where you're basically you experience stress and then it becomes acute and then it becomes
Mhm.
chronic and then it becomes degenerative and then cancerous. And we start producing oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is what causes the body to age prematurely.
Mm.
So when we look to the diet and things that we need to be eating for our heart, I
Mm-hmm.
have on red, so red food. So we start with berries. Berries are excellent for the heart. So
I had some
strawberries,
berries today.
blueberries.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All of the berries, anything that looks like blood, is
Mm.
good for the heart. Beets,
Mm-hmm.
watermelon is a natural diuretic. Anything that's red in color, cranberry, of course, a lot of people use that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for urinary tract issues and
Right.
different things like
Mm.
that. And so, what we want to do as a nutritionist, because I have many titles, because I've done different things, I always look at God basically, put me on this planet to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do. I go where I'm needed, and I'm one of the main things I do. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I used to teach elementary school, middle school. Now I teach adults. When my daughter, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I went home for 7 years and stayed home with both of my children because I did not want to have stress and drama while I was pregnant. I wanted to spend quality time with my children, and then I went back
Mm.
into the workforce.
Mm.
And as a result of that, it gave me a lot of downtime to focus on what did I want to do next, you know.
Mm.
And so, but I'm from a family of teachers and educators. That's the family hustle. So everybody in my family, for the most part, teach and educate the community and the public. Um, and so we just want to constantly focus on what can I do to strengthen my heart,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to balance my emotions, to reduce my stress, to increase my physical activity. Because when it comes to chronic disease, you have two ways that you can address chronic disease very
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The first is through nutrition,
Okay.
making sure you're taking enough, eating holistically, taking
Mm-hmm.
in enough fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, healthy protein, making sure you're getting ample supply of water, making sure you're getting vitamins and minerals, all of that basic stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need what we call physical activity. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people just do not exercise enough or move enough. And especially when it comes to women, because when we don't move a lot, we'll end up getting constipated. We'll end up with womb issues because all of that is congestion. So you can have congestion in the heart, you can have it in the breast, you can have it in the womb area. So we want to kind of be conscious of that. And I'll let you get kind of to your questions because I'll just be all over the place, talking.
No,
So
you did good, but let me no, just showing you my steps today, 8,567. So I'm a
oh,
little up today.
you got me beat because I think I only had about 3,000. Yeah, because I was
Oh
sitting
no,
teaching all
good.
day. Yeah.
Oh
Hmm.
right, wow. Wow, no, no, it's beautiful, beautiful discussion, and I appreciate, so you hit a horn, and that pretty much you knocked a significant amount of my questions out with your, as you would have done anyway. I knew you would. So physical activities and of course nutrition, and I think absolutely nutrition is would be more in the terms of priority
But I
between
have a
the two.
quick question,
But
Hakeem.
yeah, I was about to go to you, but go ahead, Renee. Go ahead. I was coming right to you.
Okay, so just one of the things that I thought was really powerful that you shared, Sister Jennifer, is that um, we talk about being in touch with our emotions, and particularly I find, and I wanted to see if you find this to be true, but I do think that there are quite a bit of sisters or African American women that are not aware of their emotions. They're not aware of what's pulling them. A lot of us have been raised to keep it moving, get it done, and not necessarily take time to process those emotions. So,
Mm.
what would you say is it? First of all, do you find that to be true? And then, second, do you have advice for women to process their emotions and really be able to tune in?
Well, the biggest thing, and I always say this, I used to study with a Sufi master, and he used to always say, ego don't like
Mm.
documentation, so you document everything.
Mm.
So I always recommend, like I said, doing the Sacred Woman program for over 21 years. I've addressed probably 100 plus women in some type of capacity. And
Mm.
sometimes the healing is pleasant and sometimes it's not, because a lot of women have a lot of deep seated trauma. And
mm,
when they're going through rites of passage, or they're going through training, or they're going through healing, um, people think it's cute and it's pretty and all of that. But then when you start really getting into the trenches, all of that negativity, all of our vices kind of come to the surface for us to deal with. It's almost like an onion when it comes to healing. So you pull back one layer, and then more stuff comes up. You pull back another layer and more stuff comes up. And what I find, a lot of women have mother issues. And
mm,
I'll give you an example. When I used to teach middle school in Southeast DC, I can remember being a week into the class, and young girls that are like 10 and 12, I hate you, I hate you. And I'm like, you don't even know
mm,
me. I just met
mm,
you, you know. But they had mother issues,
Right.
and I would trigger them in some kind of way because they had deep-seated issues with their parents, something that happened in their childhood, or years ago. And I show up to make change, and you trigger these women in some kind of way,
mm,
and all of the negativity comes to the surface. And so I'm like, I just met you. You don't even know me. I don't even know you,
mm,
but you hate me, or, and they didn't hate me. It was just projecting the issues that they had with their mother, or had with another female, or women in the past. And so a lot of people are not real clear about what it is they're actually feeling.
mm,
So they mislabel their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were saying to me is, I need your attention, I need your time.
Right.
Because when I got deep into the conversation, one of the mothers had remarried, a new, and brought a new man, and they thought their parents were going to get back together. And, I'm just using this as an example. And they had this perception of what was really going on, but it wasn't. If you get what I'm saying, because their
mm,
mom was not getting back together with their dad. Their mom was about to marry someone else, and they were living out the past with me, with me.
mhm,
And so what ends up happening is, that's when you recommend like journaling. Journaling is a unique opportunity for people. I know people say, "Oh, journaling it's very simple," and that people feel like it doesn't do anything, but it's a way to empty your mental trash can. So I always recommend that people journal 15 minutes in the morning when you first wake up. You empty your heart. Okay, you
mhm,
release all of these different things, because that way when you go out into the world, people say, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So that gives them the authority to be negative or mean all day to people, because they had a woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
right,
Okay. But if we took the time to actually journal and release and let go, it gives us an opportunity to download some of those high emotions, and then do it 15 minutes before you go to bed. That way you can kind of release the activities of the day. Because when we go out into the world, I've been so many places. I've taught so many people. This last year, I taught like 768, 80, 600. I taught 65 classes.
mm,
I taught 762 students. So
mm,
when you're dealing in such a high number of dealing with people, you don't take stuff personal. You
mm,
realize that more work is needed, and we have to go a little bit deeper,
mm,
because it's almost like people don't understand. I remember when I used to live in Oklahoma City, I owned a health food store,
mm,
and people would come in and purchase herbs. And,
mm,
I would put together these packages for them and everything. And they'd come in and they'd buy all of these herbal products. And then they'll come in like a month later. And I'm like, okay, how is your protocol? How's your healing going? Oh, it's still in the bag. I didn't even open it up. Okay. Or they would come in and they
mhm,
would say, hey, I did a half of a bottle. Let's say it's 60 capsules. They only took 30, or they took half of the bag, and so, but they wanted certain results, but they didn't do the work. And so I would always challenge them and say, hey, every day that the Most High blessed us with another day is another opportunity. So how about, we start over with day one, and let's get through those herbs. And so sometimes people have to go backwards to kind of go forward. But journaling is one of the quickest ways for people to kind of address their emotions. And for me, when I say keep it moving, that doesn't mean that you don't process what's going on day to day. That means that you're about your father's business.
mm,
So you're not going to allow any issues or circumstances to stop you from your goals. Because what we end up doing is we have what we call sabotory energy when it comes to our
Mm.
healing, when it comes to our health. And we talk ourselves out of our wellness. You know, if I don't want to lose weight or go on a diet and I have a girlfriend and I call her and say, let's go walking, and she's like, girl, I don't feel like doing that. Well, hey, I don't either. So we may or may not go walking. But if I
Right.
call my girlfriends and I say, let's go to the spa, let's do some pampering, and they're like, okay, let's go, then I'm more inclined. When I was doing one of my classes today, one of the ladies was saying, I don't have a community, I don't have someone to walk with. You know, so I told her, I said, well, I'll be your accountability partner. So I'm going to send you a pedometer in the mail. I'm going to send you some recipes. I'm going to send you a walking chart, and I want you to walk, fill it in, and then mail it back to me. You know,
Yes.
and that was a way to connect with her because she didn't have support or someone to walk with her. And she said it was very, very hard for her to start a healing process or physical fitness, because I was talking about the physical fitness, because we have to strengthen the heart, we have to
Mm.
stimulate the heart. And when we end up with, you know, eating too much cholesterol and not
Mm-hmm.
knowing our numbers, and let's kind of get into some of the science
Yes, yes.
behind it.
Let
You
me
know,
let me jump in, let me jump in. Let me jump in real fast.
okay.
I'm not sure, Sister Renee, like before we go back to Jennifer. I know you may have to chime out. I'm not sure how much time you did have
I
here.
have a 9 o'clock commitment
Yeah. Okay.
tonight.
Okay. No. Well. All right. I apologize. We'll get back into Sister Jennifer. But
Did you have another question? And I wasn't sure if I answered your question all the way. Do you have
yeah.
another question,
Oh,
um,
Renee.
Sister Renee?
No, you actually did. I just, I really just wanted to acknowledge some of the things that get in the way, because you're really sharing some great knowledge and some great information, and so I just wanted us to be mindful of the things that could block us from even being conscious of whatever's sitting there.
Right.
Yes, and especially when it comes to women, what I find in the 21 years of working with women, a lot of women have deep seated emotional issues that they have not addressed. And when you say we say we're ready to heal, um, and we kind of stumble on the path. I know I stumbled on a spiritual path, right? And once I got on the path, you know, I met all of these different teachers. I sat at their feet. I learned all of this knowledge and all of this information, and I applied it to my life. Okay.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, I lost my mom at the age of 60 to breast cancer. So I was in
Mm.
my 20s when my mom passed with breast cancer. So I made it my mission that I didn't want to be a statistic. So I'm going
Right.
to, you know, I've been a vegan vegetarian for, you know, close to 30 years. So I made it my mission that this was going to be my lifestyle. And
Right.
so, what people need to do to kind of address strong emotions so that we don't develop some of these health issues is to find stress techniques that we can do to reduce our stress. Because when we get stressed, we dump all of these different hormones into our bloodstream. We're talking about cortisol, we're talking about histamine, we're talking about, you know, estrogen and some testosterone, progesterone, all of these hormones are dumped into our bloodstream, and the body is trying to adjust. And the reason why these hormones are important, because if you are a woman, that can lead to fibroids because of the high estrogen content.
Mm.
Okay. Or
Yeah.
if you have too much testosterone, that could lead to issues with infertility. Okay.
Mm.
So it's important that we are in control of our emotions, and we are looking for ways to kind of let go and let God. Because at the end of the day, we have to love each other, and we have
Exactly.
to have respect, and we have to have value and self-love. And self-love and self-care starts with, you know, when I wake up every day, I'm going to pray, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to journal, I'm going to do my kidney liver flush so that my heart is light. And, you know, and I'm going to do these things before I even leave the house so that my interactions can be a little bit more positive. But we have to eat healthy. We have to take better care of ourselves, because as women, we're always looking out for everybody else. And
So
then
let
when it,
me. I'm
okay,
sorry. No, no, no. Let me just. I know Renee. She may have to jet out of here. I don't want to take too much of her time out of here. But let me just give a brief plug for. She's a coach as well, and
Okay.
she's a um, outside of the Sacred Women training. She's done some amazing things, and she's going doing the Tanzania Love Camp, and so
Okay. Love camp.
yeah, that's
Okay.
why I put it down there before she gets out of here, and that's going to be October 2022.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
but so we talked about the sisters and the sacred women, and that connection. She believes that several women would definitely be interested in that. I mean, she's a trained coach and in many different capacities, professional sister, so cultural conscious sister. So I just wanted to plug that into this conversation. I know she has to go. Renee, if you want to say something before I take up another minute or two of your
It was
time.
nice to meet you,
Yeah.
and definitely give her my number so we can stay in touch.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. And perhaps we'll do something again like this where she has more time. But Renee, just kind of plug anything you wanted to share. Uh,
Yeah, I'm just grateful to be able to hear this kind of knowledge, because while we're talking about the heart being healthy from the physical standpoint, I think the heart also needs to be healthy from a love perspective as well. I think
mm,
way too many of our sisters are either giving up on love or having a hard time on love, or just not really resolving some of their own challenges, whether it's
hmm
with our men, with our significant others. And so for me, I'm super excited that we're talking about all matters of the heart. And, I'm
mm,
just hoping that more of our sisters definitely will come to Love Camp, because we're going to learn some powerful practices on vulnerability, healing some of those pains, and really looking at best practices. So I
mm.
welcome to stay in contact with you, Jennifer. I think you seem like a very powerful sister, and I'm really honored to meet you, because I like all the things that you're sharing. And it's always nice also to meet another sacred woman.
Yes. Sacred women on the move.
On the
Um,
move. We are the
yes.
light.
Yes, and
Yes,
give
definitely.
thanks, and I'm glad that you said that about wanting to love again, because I hear so many women say, I'm never, going to get married again, or I'm never going to date, because they had a bad relationship. I have this image of this brother behind me, and it's an artist. His name is Emberson, and I met him many years ago, and basically he called me a hopeful romantic, because you know how people say
Hmm
a hopeless romantic. He said no,
mm,
hopeful romantic, because I would always kind of, you know how you see stuff and you would always just kind of be excited about the possibilities, and so I'm
mm,
always excited when people kind of gather, and pair up, and I'm always trying to marry
mm,
off my brother, uh, and and how you're constantly excited about the possibilities of that. I have two beautiful children, and I just adore them, and it's nothing
mm,
like a mother's love, since we're talking about love. A brother sisterly love, motherly love, aunt love, and all of these roles that we play in the community. I know I've had a love for just helping people heal for so many years, and I just always move on to the next assignment. I don't take anything personal. I just keep it moving, and keep my heart light as a feather. And
mm.
that's the thing
Okay,
that we want to
that's it.
do, because you know what they say, in terms of my art, we want to keep our heart light as a
That's
feather.
right. That's
And
right.
so some of
Absolutely.
the things that people can do is they can do the Maat meditation, is, how you
Mm,
chant, my mother, my heart, my aunt, my mother, my heart, my aunt, my
mm,
mother, my heart, my aunt, my mother, my heart, my aunt. That is a good chant that people can do, for the month of February, to remind you to keep your heart light, and basically eat healthy, eat light. We are leaving the winter month.
mhm,
We're going into March, which is the spring. So in the winter months, we tend to eat heavy meals.
mhm,
So we know that summer is the fire element, because the heart is a fire element.
mm,
And one of the things I want to kind of share with us as people of color, we tend to cook with too much fire. So we want to, that's cayenne, that's ginger, that's onions, that's pepper. So too much fire causes high blood pressure and hypertension. So we want to
All right,
make
sister.
sure, thank you.
All
We
right.
want to make sure that we are using other elements when we're preparing our food so that we're not putting so much fire into the food. So we want to put a little parsley or a little marjoram, or a little basil, which is a water spice. Or we may want to put a little cardamom or a little mace or a little cinnamon, which is an air spice. Or we want to put a little turmeric or um, which is a earth spice.
Yes.
So we want to balance our food when we cook, but people of color, we tend to cook with a lot of fire, hot sauce and pepper sauce and barbecue sauce, and all of these things that that overstimulate the body. So we want to make sure that we don't overstimulate. So we want to balance our elements when we also prepare our food and we cook our food as well. So that's something I just wanted to kind of throw in there.
No, beautiful, beautiful. No, we definitely appreciate that. Those are some very valuable tips. I think I'm looking at my questions, and I know I said we can, don't want to keep you too much, but I think describing your work or talk,
Well,
we
go ahead and answer whatever you
yeah,
want.
no, I think
Yeah.
we really you did it all pretty much. I mean, the attitude. I think we undervalue, and I appreciate you mentioning about how women, like we're taught, medically speaking, when people are having heart troubles, uh, that women definitely have different symptoms. For instance, so you can't always rule out, a heart. Dr. Africa would say, "How's a heart attacking? Your hearts don't attack."
Exactly.
Right. but he said that that's how this Western mindset is that the heart is attacking you. But
Before we go, Brother
mhm,
Haki, I just want
yeah,
to kind of give some more scientific
yeah, absolutely. Oh,
information,
good.
for
That's great.
people, since we
Great.
were kind of like, going based upon,
Yes.
questions or whatever.
Yes.
But the heart is the most hardworking muscle of the body. It
Yeah.
pumps
Thank you.
4.5 liters of blood every minute during
Mm-hmm.
rest. It
Good, good,
supplies
good.
nutrients and oxygen-rich blood to all parts of the body.
Right.
Over time, we end up with fat deposits called plaque
Mm-hmm.
that builds up in the arteries.
Mm-hmm.
So when this occurs, it leads to heart issues.
Right.
So we need to, and it's not, we have what we call fat deposits,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Mm-hmm.
form cells, and you end up with what we call fat deposits.
Right.
And so what we want to do is the things that we can kind of change, we can change what reduce some of our risk factors, and that would be high cholesterol. So we want to watch our cholesterol.
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
numbers. Your numbers. You mentioned
yes,
those, but we
yes.
we didn't talk about what these
I'm
numbers are. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm about to get to those. So
Okay.
high cholesterol. So I'll just throw it in as I go. So high cholesterol, you want to make sure your cholesterol, your total cholesterol is under 200.
Mm-hmm.
You want to reduce smoking. I know a lot of people in the community have picked up weed smoking or marijuana smoking. A lot of people are vaping and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Smoking cigars. A lot. This is a
Mm-hmm.
trend that we picked up,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very devastating to the heart and to
Yes.
the
Yes.
brain. And
Even marijuana.
even marijuana, I know you have heard the story. Once you add fire to it, it becomes a chemical.
Yeah. Right.
So
Like I
yeah.
mean, you
So
got
it's more
people.
than one way to consume that. Okay.
Right. 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 Right.
Um, in some of the Caribbean areas, they use it as a tea,
Right, right.
I'm not a fan. You should know by now. I'm not a fan of smoking. So
Oh, absolutely
definitely,
not. Yes.
smoking or drinking.
Right.
So that's just me personally. What people do, that's on
Mm-hmm.
them. But I'm not
Mm-hmm.
a fan of any of those
Mm-hmm.
things at this juncture in our life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we need to watch your high blood pressure, your diabetes,
Mm,
obesity, alcohol consumption, because wine drinking and drinking alcohol is kind of it's a trend now where people are kind of picking up bad habits. And
mm,
then what I say to people, whatever you do, if you're smoking or drinking, please do it in moderation if you're going to do it.
mm,
And physical inactivity. So we want to make
mm,
sure that we are getting physically fit. You have two sources of cholesterol. 65% of cholesterol is formed from your liver and other
mhm,
cells in the body. 65% of your cholesterol comes from the body, um,
mhm, mhm,
and 35% comes from the food that you eat. So that
mhm,
35% enters into your digestive system. So that's that fat that you're consuming. So we want to make sure that we are consuming, the right types of fat, healthy
mhm,
fat like avocados. If you're going to use oil, use olive oil as opposed
mhm.
to
Oh,
solid fat.
what about coconut oil?
Coconut oil, you have to do that in moderation because that
Mm,
is, that is it's still a fat. So you want to
mhm,
do that
mhm,
palm oil definitely in moderation. Those are
mhm,
not what we
mhm,
call healthy fats. Okay.
mhm. Okay.
Um, good cholesterol versus bad cholesterol.
Mhm,
Your LDL cholesterol is known as what we call the bad cholesterol. It has a tendency to increase your risk of heart disease. Your
mhm, mhm,
HDL, which is your high density, is known as good cholesterol. Um, HDL cholesterol helps carry some of the bad cholesterol out of the arteries.
mm,
And so that's important to know
mhm, mhm,
in terms of that. And you want to know your numbers.
mm,
Um,
mhm,
so that's another thing. You want to make sure you keep your fat to only 35 grams a day.
mm,
And you want 3 to 5 servings of fresh fruit a day, five to
mm,
seven servings of vegetables, 4 ounces of whole grains, 2 to 4 ounces of protein, no more than 55 grams of protein a day.
mm,
55 to 70. Women need to eat less protein than men. Um, and
mm,
so those are some of the things that I just kind of wanted to kind of throw in there. You want to make sure that you keep you're eating smaller meals because we tend to eat a large plate. So you want to make sure you're eating smaller meals, and especially people that are diabetic or have hypertension,
mm,
you want
mhm,
to maybe do smaller meals,
mm,
and try not to do what we call late night eating,
mm,
because we tend to eat late as opposed to early. And you
mhm,
want
mm,
to if you're under 200 pounds, you want to try to consume, 2,000 to 2,200 calories a day. And this
mm,
goes back to what we talked about earlier in terms of your physical activity, because a lot of people have
mhm,
issues with consumption. You're overeating, but then you don't, your metabolism is not breaking down what you're eating
mm,
quick
mm.
enough because you don't have enough physical activity.
Right,
And
right.
that's where you shared that you got your walk in, you got your steps in. So that's very important. The whole physical activity
Mm,
is very important. And
mhm,
so, so we just want to do, everything that we can to support our health, our heart, and make sure that we're taking in vitamins and minerals.
mm.
Vitamin D is excellent.
Yes.
Hawthorn is an herb that strengthens the heart. Of course, garlic. So you can do about 2 or 4 garlic cloves a day.
Mm, mhm,
That you can put garlic in your food. I eat a lot of onions and a lot of garlic.
mhm, mhm,
Vitamin D is a good vitamin, to
mhm,
take.
mhm.
Hawthorn is good for the heart. Red clover and
Question.
other.
So no, I'm sorry. You were on the road, but that's good. Vitamin D deficiency in Black people. Was there any statistical studies in terms of related to heart challenges? I mean, in terms of lack of vitamin D. in general. I know Black people have many challenges in that, but anything related to heart um, challenges as well.
Yeah, well, basically, what ends up happening is, vitamin D is like a hormone. And I talked about
Hmm.
hormones and how they regulate the body. So
Mm.
basically, we want to eat before the sun goes down so that the sun can help us digest and process our food properly.
Right,
So,
right. Very, very true.
everyone, not even just Black people, everyone is deficient in vitamin D. Most of the people, especially because of COVID, people have been inside. We have not been out physically, so some of the
Hmm.
things that are good sources of vitamin D, mushrooms are high in vitamin D. For people that eat fish, salmon, tuna, high in
Hmm.
vitamin D.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Flaxseed oil, avocado. Um,
Flexi, right? Yes, yes.
yeah, fortified cereal or high in
Hmm.
vitamin D. Um, so those are some of the things, but basically you just want to make sure that you're getting at least 4 hours of sunshine
Yes,
daily.
yes, yes.
And because the gag is we don't want to have to supplement everything, because what can happen is you can just be taking a lot of pills that don't do anything for you because they all cancel out because we're taking too much stuff.
Hmm.
So it's best to try to get your nutrients and everything from what you eat. So you don't have deficiencies. But when you're not
Mm.
able to get your nutrients from your food, then we have to take the supplements. You always want to have an herbal life because herbs kind of circumvent some of the damage that we do in day to day living,
Right,
errors in
right.
living, if you will. But when it comes to
Hmm.
supplementing with so many vitamins, we should really be getting our vitamins and minerals from the foods that we eat.
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
want to eat the rainbow. Like you said, we're
Mm.
people of color. So when you look down on your plate, should see color. You should
Mm.
see all of these different colors of food: red, yellow, orange, green, purple. You shouldn't see, beige or brown foods. We tend to eat mac and cheese or white rice and, mashed potatoes and chicken, so those are some of the traditional foods that people tend to eat, which we call comfort food. So we want to make sure that we add a soup and salad. So you want to eat the rainbow.
Mhm.
Just like I got on red, I talked about eating red foods for
Mm.
blood circulation, to improve the heart, to strengthen the heart. Red deals with vitality, with strength, being courageous, being active. It deals with the fire element. Fire initiates things, it gets stuff started. It also deals with love. It also deals with warmth and,
Mm.
showing love and warmth, for each other. And I just always go back to my children. When they wake up in the morning and they see me, they always come hug me. When I come in, they hug me. They always come for the warmth. They always come
Mm.
for the
Mhm.
love, from
Mm.
their mother. And
Right.
that's kind of how I was with my mom, where I always gravitated to my mom for the warmth, for the love, you know. And
Mm.
so,
Mm.
and I have a girlfriend that always jokes, and she said, do your children still hug you every day? I was like, yeah, they still do
Yeah,
when they're
right,
not
right.
fussing with me, because now they think they're too, old for that type of interaction or whatever. But she always asks me that, do your
Wow.
children, well,
No, that's
how I am about
important.
my children.
That's important, and we don't always quantify uh, the emotional aspect of human bonding in our healing and our interactions. And I've through my wisdom, once upon a time I would like respond to certain things in a certain way, and it's not that you're being passive, but you're trying to. For me, it's like I'm trying to protect my heart, from the savageness of the world,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I had to, sometimes I gotta think wisely about how I respond, because it's like you don't want to be, I know some 50 and 60-year-old brothers that's like yelling and just upset about stuff, and they respond with it, and I'm just like, there's a time and a place that warrior spirit to come out, but ultimately warriors are healers, and so if you're not able to heal the warriors, many of them are just going to be, that energy is just going to be misdirected, and sometimes it can lead to abuse, even emotional abuse in male female interactions. If and most of us don't have people to look up to that have this wisdom, because many brothers, are engaged in reckless, certain types of reckless behavior that's taking them off the earth. And that's where I had to think. I'm like, you know what? I can't fight every fight, no more. And I'm like, I need
you
to be
you you
around.
have you have to pick your battles, because
Right.
um you know um because like I always say, people always say, well, oh, she doesn't care, she's very dismissive or
Mm,
condescending or something like that. And it's really, I'm just about my God's business, and
mm,
so I'm so busy trying to do other things that you don't get stuck with people. Because when one thing that I find, especially in certain communities, we get stuck, and we're doing the same thing, we're still stuck, people are not healing, people are not growing, people are not moving to the next level. And so if we don't do anything, we need to ascend and we need to consciously grow,
mm-hmm,
so that we can heal and move on to something else. Because if you're spending all of your time addressing health issues, when do you enjoy life? You know,
mm,
and so
yeah,
I'm into
right,
fun
right.
therapy. I love spa treatments. I love
Fun
hanging out with
therapy. That's
my
right.
family and my friends. So I want to focus on positive things and not doctor's appointments and people being sick, and all of the things that are kind of happening with so many of us. And so when
Fun
I
therapy.
just find therapy, yes. So that's what I'm focusing. That's, I just turned 53 in January. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
focusing on fun therapy. That's where I am in
Mm,
my process. And,
that's it.
continuing to heal my heart, to send love and light to everyone. That's what I'm on right about now, is fun therapy,
Right.
self love and self pampering techniques that we can
Mm-hmm.
do to support us and improve our day-to-day life, because it's quality of life at this juncture.
Mm,
I
right.
don't want to be here to be 80 and I'm sick every day of my life, or somebody has
Mm,
to change my diaper or push me around, or I don't know who I am.
mm,
So if we're doing the
right.
things that we need to do right now, we're less inclined to have all of these health issues, and we can age gracefully,
Mm,
as opposed to, because what ends up happening, if we get back into the heart, what ends up happening when we do not heal our chronic disease, and we do not focus on prevention, because if you don't currently have heart issues, you want to prevent hypertension and diabetes.
mm,
But if you
right.
do have it, you want to properly manage it and make
Right.
sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to ensure that you have longevity. And
Mm,
so we have to eat healthy, we have to think healthy, you have to guard your emotions,
that's it. That's
and
it.
you have to eat the rainbow, like we said
Mm-hmm.
earlier. You have to exercise, know your numbers. Your BMI, your body mass index, should be under 30. For women, your waistline should be 34, and for men, your waist circumference should be 36.
Mm,
So that's where you want to kind of focus on that. We talked about making sure you're taking in dietary fiber, you're eating enough fiber. Some of the foods for the heart, real
mm,
quickly, beans are excellent for the heart. They're high in fiber. Berries are really good. Tomatoes, um, um, red foods like beets,
mm-hmm, mm, mm,
berries,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
cherries, it's like I had them all on my head, and then I
You're
start forgetting.
okay. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes.
those are some of the beans, and making sure you're doing whole grains, and we're talking about eliminating white flour products like white sugar, white salt, white sugar. Uh, because a lot of people do a lot of pastries. And
Mm.
as a culture, people start celebrating all of these different holidays. And so from October, which is, Halloween, people celebrate that. And then they are doing Halloween all the way up until Valentine's Day, where we're just eating everything. You
Mm.
know, we're constantly overeating. And they call
Mm.
December the 25th the deadliest day, because you have uh, so many people have heart attacks or strokes, right after Christmas, or on New Year's Day, because they, did not make it into the new year because of dietary choices. So we want to make healthy eating and living a lifestyle. It's not a trend. It's not something we do sometimes. It is our lifestyle. Um,
Mm.
and so we want to eat what we call heart healthy foods that are good for the
Mm-hmm.
heart, the berries, the beans, the whole grains,
Right.
the healthy fats. We want to eliminate white flour products. And we want to exercise. I cannot say that enough.
Yes.
I personally, I'm going to, I put myself out there to lose another 10. I've lost like 7 pounds because I gained weight during COVID. So I'm trying to get the weight off, and do more physical activities myself. Also, we want to make sure that we talked about our emotions and making sure that we're journaling, or we're get therapy if you need therapy. We can talk about mental health in the community, in the African American community. And like I said, a lot of people have trauma from childhood that has not been addressed, and so when we interact with each other, we tend to trigger that trauma. And so we want to get counseling or get therapy if you need it. Flower essence and aromatherapy, or
Mm-hmm.
other
Mm-hmm.
ways to kind of address stress.
Mm.
I
Right.
know I always take my flower essence, and I take my
Mm-hmm.
aromatherapy. I go get spa treatments so that I can, basically, I'm going to go get the infrared sauna, this weekend. And so, so I can continue to activate my fire element. And so, so those are some of the other things that we can do as well.
No, all right. It's good. It's good. No, well, so I thank you, sister. So let's get your contact information out there. I think that people have been inspired by this discussion. You see your email. If there's any other way that people can reach you to interview or consulting, you've been doing this for some years, so of course they.
Yes.
Let's give out your contact information.
Yes, again, I'm Jennifer Dixon Cravens, or Jennifer Maat. I'm owner of the Lotus Wellness Institution. I
Mhm.
will be launching my website in the next couple of months, but I can be reached at Lotus Wellness Institution 1 at gmail.com. My number is 240-601-4372. Um, and so, I'm a life coach, I'm a wellness consultant. I And that's kind of the only thing that I'm a public speaker. That's the only thing that I'm doing right now, since I work full
Right.
time teaching. So I don't have a whole lot of time, but in my spare time, I do a little life coaching on the side. But that's about it in terms of just basically, my focus is community nutrition, and just going out into the community and sharing information about improving our nutritional status, so we can have quality of life, because so much of our resources is going toward being sick.
That's
Um,
good. That's it. That's it. Yes.
so
Yeah.
thank you, Brother Haki, for
And
inviting me on. We've
right.
been talking about this for over a year now.
It ain't been that long, no, but yeah, but we're
Yes, it
doing that.
has.
All right. No, I definitely appreciate it. And the only other thing that I'd add to those things that I'm about to do is get some decent sleep, right?
I'm keeping you up, I see.
Right, yeah, I'm looking like okay, but no, we good, we good. This is about the time where I start.
Dozing off. Okay, well, next time let's not do it
Yeah,
so late,
yeah,
so
agreed. I
I
agree.
don't
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely. I
be
usually don't.
in your
No,
bedtime hours. And that's
right, right.
another thing that people want to do. Make sure you're getting enough rest, because we're
That's
booked and
correct.
busy, and so
Yes,
we
yes,
want
yes.
to make sure we're getting at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I get about
Good.
8 to 10 because I
Right.
enjoy a good nap, a good
Right,
sleep. Yes.
right.
All
No, I
right, brother
appreciate that. So,
Haki.
so we'll
Thank
build, and I'll get this to you, and we'll do this again real soon. All right.
All right. You
All right.
have a blessed
You
evening.
do the same. Peace
All
and
right.
blessings.
All right.
Peace,
Peace and
peace, love.
blessings.
Holla at the Success Scholar, everybody. Check out Sister Jennifer Dixon, Maat Dixon Cravens, and get some consultations in there. All right. We are out till next time. Peace and blessings.